Hi. Hi, everybody. Okay, let me say hi to everyone. Is the fan bothering you? Is it too loud? Let me know if it is too loud. I have a fan right in front of me, but it's a mini one. But it's really hot, so I'm hoping that it doesn't really bother you. But let me know if it does, then I'll try to just open the one that's farther from me. Carla, Amy, Evie, Carol, Marie, Shelling, Cindy, Ras Bob, Shandaya, Ruzika, AGL, Leah, Mamaja, Angel Star, Carla Girl, Lily. Yes, please like the video. Please like the video. Hi Joe, magandang umaga. That's good morning. Um, Sarah, I am Claudia, Callie, Chrissy, Cindy, Share Your Love, Leah, Cheryl, Simply JJ, KAG, Melva, Amy, Dodger Girl. I am on Twitch, yes. It's on Twitch. Hi everyone, hi to all. Is the fan bothering you? Let me know. And if it doesn't, I'll just use the other one that's a little farther from me. Because the fan is right in front of me, but it's a mini one. So it's really hot. So I'm just hoping that it won't bother you so much. Long time lurker, first time joiner. Hi, Aussie Mandy. Thank you for finally joining. What motivated you to join? Hi, Lorena Alta from Cali with Love. Happy Monday. I'm using the new lipstick that well, it's not new. I bought it when I went to the last time I went to Korea. I just haven't gotten no problem. Okay, thank you. I just haven't gotten the chance to use it primarily because you know how you don't really unpack. So a lot of the stuff that I bought from Korea, it was apparently still in like a bag or something. And finally, when I got a chance to organize my room, I found it. It's here. So that's as you can see, it's still red, but that's the brand. Um, that is not a partnership, by the way. How is everybody? Are you all good with the hi? Have you seen the ADOR remove NJ from their website? I did, yeah. I know a lot of people are speculating what it actually means. Um, so, but I don't think it really. I don't think it's a big deal. Wait, let me go there. Um, like I think the best thing is to just to wait what it is that HYBE is actually planning to do. Why they actually remove them in the website. Here. How is everybody? Okay, so the reason I said it's not really a big deal is because they still are in the list of artists under HYBE. So here, I'll show it to you. I'll show it now. Where is it? Thanks for the earlier time slot. I'm trying. I can still move it up. One of the some are actually suggesting that I do like a morning one. Friday for the subscribers, paid subscribers. I did a, a a live stream and it was 12 noon. And I think the only issue that some of you are going to have is that some of you are actually working. Uh, oh, thank you. Bob said that my lipstick looks good and my hair is out. Thank you. So this is just because I hate my bangs. I cut it and it was like halfway. I look like a dork, and so I decided to just clip it up anyway. So it's still they're still there, as you can see. Their names are still there, New Jeans. So I don't think it's a big deal. Then if you click on it, it'll still go to their page. I what is it? The phoning. So they're still there. They haven't been removed. So I don't think it's whatever it is that they're doing is just something maybe maintenance or Aussie, oh, thank you. Aussie became a member. Thank you. Yeah. So for those that were there the last time that I did a live stream, for just for the paid members. I hope I wasn't too upfront. I guess, hi Banguna, finished making dinner and made it not too late. Yeah, I just started. Someone asked what I think about. Well, someone just mentioned if I saw that New Jeans was actually removed from the website of Adore, but they still are in Hybe's website. They still are listed as artists. So I don't think it's, maybe maintenance, maybe there's some, but I don't think it's like a, it's right there. Sorry, I'm in the way. There, they're still there. So whatever that may be, I don't think it's a earth shattering thing any more than what's already happening. So I loved having a live with no filter. It was funny. I actually, a friend of mine watched it, and she was like, maybe you want to hold back a little bit. She said someone might pay just so they could record and then you know distribute it, publish it online or something. Okay, from Cali with love, I caught the rewatch of your Friday live. I loved your candor. Well, thank you. But yeah, that was the input from my friend. She was like, "Do you want to hold back a little bit? Maybe someone's going to pay just to just to catch you saying something, and then that's it." Okay. For court, isn't Adore supposed to prove they're doing all they can for New Jeans? Yeah, they are, and they have been. So that's why I think it's just, maybe it's maintenance, maybe it's, maybe it's a technical glitch, maybe it's a technical maintenance, maybe there's something. As we know, they are gonna try for, or at least the court actually sent them for mediation. Maybe that's part of it. So Bang Luna said, don't hold back no more. I have to hold back here because there's a lot of lurkers here. They're just actually, just waiting for me to say something, and then, not that I actually say anything slanderous. I think you know that. It's just that I'm a little bit more unfiltered. But people have great editing skills. They can definitely do that to me. So I'm just trying to avoid it. Also, I'm wearing pajamas. It's a new pajama. Okay, so I had to cancel my card. It got hacked. I'm not on your Patreon right now. We'll sign back up once I'm done with my vacation. Sure, KAG. I hope you're having fun with your vacation. Could it be because Adore and Nujin still going back and forth in court? Maybe, maybe. But as I've said, they still are there. They are still listed as an artist under HYBE. So I think there's just most likely maintenance, um, you know, something. But I don't think it's a big deal. People are making a big deal out of it. I don't think it is. It happens all the time. Sometimes you take out, even when I did, so prior to working for the finance company that I worked for, the investment company that I worked for, I was working for a YouTuber. And one of the things that I did for him was actually put up his shop. He sold like stuff online. And sometimes like products will just be out. It will be taken out. And we weren't even, we didn't. It's just a technical glitch. Maybe it could be that or something else. But whatever that may be, as I've said, they still are listed as an artist in HYBE. So if you click on their name, it'll lead you here, which is their phoning app. So they still are there, very much there. So let's just wait. Whatever is going to happen, I don't think it's any reason to panic. And a lot of this is actually being brought by many New Jeans fans, because they still, as you know, they really want New Jeans out of HYBE, and I'm sure out of Adore. And that's, I mean, we have the same sentiment. We also want them out of HYBE, or at least I want them out of HYBE. I want them to do well. I want them to have a career. It's just that it's I simply don't want them under HYBE. Okay, Sam. Adore just won the New Jeans members a lot of money on YouTube account that was making harassing. Yes, they did. Yeah. And I'm going to talk about that a little later. But yes, they did. So a lot of people thought that it was actually New Jeans who directly sued the YouTuber. It was actually Adore and HYBE. So they actually went to the US court. ask the court for a court order to compel Google, the mother company of YouTube, to disclose the owners of the identity of the owners, and the court granted it. That's a landmark case, by the way. Okay. What do you want to do next? Do you want to do first the heavy one, and then we'll end with something light, instead of doing light first and then end with heavy one? I'm trying to catch up on live. Now I'm curious about the Friday one. I said things that I answered questions that I wouldn't usually answer, or I will tiptoe around. Yeah. But I didn't say anything. I never say anything slanderous. And as I've mentioned to everybody, I just, by nature, I don't, it's not in my DNA to just hate on things, like be stressed out and just be a hater. It's not just, it's simply not in my DNA. I'm not a hater. The last time I passionately hated something, I think was, I can't even remember. Probably sport. Probably sport. I mean, probably Lakers. That was probably the, yeah, probably the Lakers. I hated it because I just didn't like the movements they were making in the team. Not that I know any better, but as a fan, you're kind of. But other than that, do you already discuss? No, that's what I was asking. So let's discuss the. Someone is asking if I discuss Rolling Stones. So okay, let's do that first, so that we start with something heavy, and then we'll end with something light, so that we all feel good. How's that? Okay. All right. Let's start with that. Okay. Sorry, my. I love your opinion on the heavy topic. I will control myself. Okay, so let's start with Rolling Stone. But before I start, just want to remind everybody that I'm not going to tolerate any slander against any BTS member. So just do remember that this article was not written by BTS, and so I'm sure that I think we've known by now how much the boys actually love each other, how considerate they are of each other, and how they uplift each other. So I'm not going to tolerate anybody slandering or saying anything bad about other BTS members until they materially do something bad. We're not going to say anything about them. I'm not going to tolerate it. So I'm going to block you if you do that. So don't. If you're here to bash one of the members, this is not the place. Go somewhere else, but not here. Okay? Just want to make that very, very clear. Okay, let's start. Let's start. Okay, so the article was written by Jae Hak Kim, and she's Korean, as far as I understand. And the title is Every BTS Solo Song Ranked. And then this is her. It was retweeted, sorry, posted on a story, IG story by RM. That's actually how I learned about the article, because of RM. I went on Twitter, I went on X, and by the time I went on X, someone already sent me some screenshots of some of the songs that she included in the list. And then it wasn't until, like, I think 2 days later, that I finally had a chance to sit down and react to it and actually understand what was going on. So the first batches of tweet that I sent out, it was just really based on what these people were sending me. Okay, so for those that are not able to or didn't want to give Rolling Stone any click, congratulations. It's a good move. And I will upload it on Patreon, so that you don't have to actually go to their page to read it. Okay, all right. So I will upload it after. All right. So this is her, and I think Go Away with Jay is her IG profile. So that's her public picture. I did not put anything that didn't herself put out into the world, but that is her. Okay. So, as a suggestion, don't you can talk about her just so people will remember her name, but I will not suggest going to her page to give her clicks. Don't mention her name online or her page. If you are going to do so, distort it. You know how people would usually put a slash between the at and then a slash and then the handle, the handle or the Twitter handle. This is so the algorithm is not going to catch it. So distort it, and even the spelling distort it. um, this is more than anything. Also, I will not encourage, and I do not encourage any kind of online bullying or harassment. This is more than anything an editorial mistake, at least in my opinion. She does have a track record of being shady, specifically towards Jungkook. And that is the only reason I'm saying, personally, I will remember that name. So, um, imagine doing that to Jungkook. Okay, so this is one of that. This is actually one of the. I'm not gonna go through all the shady things that she said about Jungkook, but this is one that was one of the first ones that one of the first ones sent to me by an army. So apparently, that's my lipstick. That's not blood. So apparently, several years ago, she tweeted about Your Eye Style, which, as you know, the OST was written by Jungkook. It was credited to BTS, as many of their solo works were during that time. But it was Jungkook specifically that was credited as a composer and as a co-producer, I think. So she mentioned that BTS tweet must have spent quite a bit of time studying the film because the lyrics convey both hopes and heartbreak. Now, we know, if you are following them very, very closely, that, well, Jungkook specifically did. I, just to make it clear, I have no issue crediting BTS in that because during that time, all of their solo works were actually credited towards BTS. But we still need to mention the member, like BTS tweet Jungkook or BTS tweet Jimin, BTS tweet RM, BTS tweet Suga. So okay, so one of the her followers actually stated um, that, well, it was actually Jungkook who watched it, so, and read the script. So he read the entire script, watched the unedited or pre-edited version, maybe the first version of the drama, and then wrote the OST. And then she said, like, so she refused to mention Jungkook, or at least not refused, but she didn't mention Jungkook in her reply. And then another member, another Jungkook bias page, sent her a screen cap of the credits of the song. So it's very evident it is written by Jungkook of BTS and some others. So that's a lyricist and composer. So it is Jungkook, and she just did not mention Jungkook. So that's actually part of, like, why can't you just, at the very least, mention it? So, and she said some other things after that. She published some other stories after that, but we're not going to spend much time on that. Okay, so I read the entire thing. The copy of the article that I will be posting, it's actually a video. I just recorded as I was reading it, and you will see that I was actually reading it for almost an hour, actually more than an hour, because after I stopped screen recording what I was reading, I still read some parts just to make sure that I got everything right. And so one of the main things that I realized is that the shade wasn't even subtle. It's not. This is not at all a subtle shade. It was downright, very, very obvious, unapologetically shading Jungkook and Jimin, and parts of it I would say Suga. Okay, so one of the signs is that she included covers of Jungkook. You know how BTS members would do a lot of covers for us, right? They've done so many, especially in the first half of their career. They would just like do a cover and then just release it. They would put it on SoundCloud or sometimes YouTube, and some fans would actually take it from SoundCloud, put a video on it and put it on YouTube just so people would hear their voice, or at least would learn about it more. And so what and Jungkook covered two songs, and Falling and Let There Be Love, and she included that in the list. But she didn't include many of the songs that Jungkook himself wrote and produced. So the implication is not even an implication, it's an actual conclusion that the covers are actually better than the ones that he wrote, the songs that he actually wrote. And I have nothing against Harry Styles. These songs are great. But you are reviewing BTS. And this is a cover. They do it all the time. It's not a formal release. There wasn't a producer there. There wasn't he wasn't this was just Jungkook singing. So I think the implication is it's, as I've said, is not an implication, it's just a conclusion that the covers that he did were way better than the actual songs that he wrote and produced. And to me, that's like, we all know how much of a genius Jungkook is as a producer and as a songwriter. So it's like, well, as- this is, this is, it's a downright shade. It's not even um, it's not even subtle. So, just to give you an idea, I actually did this for you because I know you're gonna ask for it. So this is a summary of the chart. Okay, so these are all the songs that she included in the list of each member. Now, I have no issue with her list being the way that it is, if that was just a personal preference. I mean, if she wrote it in a blog, that's cool. I mean, it's your right to do it that way. I mean, it's her prerogative, because that is her blog. But this was written for Rolling Stone, and I'm going to show you how harmful I'm this thing actually is, because different AIs platforms are already picking up her article because it's Rolling Stone. It's high credibility. Okay, but I'm jumping the gun. So just to give you an idea, so there were 16 songs included for Jungkook, 15 Jungkook and Jimin 16, 15 for V, Jin 20, and then Suga, make it bigger for me. Okay, so it is 17. So 17 for Jimin and for Jungkook, 16 for V, 20 for Jin, and then J Hope is 28, 36 for Suga, and then 50 for RM. So this is the complete one. And I did this myself, so I know it's as accurate as accurate. It's very accurate. Um, so there again, if I know that she's a huge fan of RM, that's very evident in all the things that she has done, and there's nothing wrong. It's RM, of course. I mean, come on. Right? I have nothing against her including all the songs of RM, the solo songs of RM, and just including 16 for the others. No issue about that at all. It's just that it's very clear. Number one, she didn't say the standards or the metrics that she used for this. So it seems implied it is her personal preference. So, okay, I respect that. All I'm saying is that based on her assessment, the covers that he made informally were actually better than the songs that he wrote and produced directly. Okay, next. She printed a lot of many wrong information in there. One of which is that she claimed Jungkook was singing about his personal carnal desire. It's here. Jungkook is all grown up. It's number 41 under 3D. Jungkook is all grown up and not shy about expressing his carnal desires. Just want to make it clear, if Jungkook or any of the BTS members decides to sing about sex or whatever, they're grown up. That is their right. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just that for this specific instance, it is incorrect. Jungkook multiple times said that this is not autobiographical. It does not reflect his personal experience or his personal feelings. He chose songs based on the theme that he wanted to sing about because he wanted to go global. And for him, it's love, romance, breakup, specifically romantic love. That's what he wanted to sing about. So he chose songs based on that. He was given different songs. From there, picked out the ones that he wanted. So this is factually wrong. And remember, this was written for Rolling Stone. This is not someone's personal blog. If it was, who the hell cares, right? Maybe you'll make a comment, hey, you've provided the wrong information, change it. But this is Rolling Stone. Their credibility is high, and it is going to be picked up by many AI platforms and search engines. And they're going to be taking this as accurate because it is Rolling Stone. So I don't care about her opinion. She can think carnal desires, sexual, whatever she can take her brains wherever she wants to take it. It's a little disgusting, quite honestly, but if she wants it that way, fine. But we're talking about Rolling Stone. Okay. Next, there is lack of research or intentional irresponsible writing. If a journalist interprets an art differently from the intention of the creator, there has to be a disclaimer that the creator meant it to be something else and that the journalist chooses to interpret it, in this case, sexually. Because she said that Like Crazy was actually overtly, she said it can be argued or something like that. It that like Crazy is actually overtly sexual. And there was a whole discussion on X about this when I posted it. Jimin has repeatedly explained that Like Crazy reflects his own personal journey during the pandemic. It was essentially him trying to find peace and trying to find happiness, and only finding the superficial ones in the loneliness of his emptiness. That's basically what he said. Nothing sexual about it. The expression was love story, but he was very specific on what it meant. If she wanted to interpret that differently, that is fine. That is why we all have, that's the beauty of art. We're all given a chance. It's up to us to interpret it in a way that would resonate with us, right? That's why it appeals to everybody. So that's absolutely fine. But because you are Rolling Stone, and that the artist already multiple times expressed what the piece of art actually meant, then she has the responsibility to actually state that the artist intended it to be something else, but she's choosing to interpret this differently. Okay. Just want to make it clear. I have no issue. I'm not saying that I'm enraged or that I'm upset or that I'm offended because the members of BTS are saying about sex, love, and whatever. It's they're at this are in their 30s outside of Jungkook. Everyone's already in there. They can sing about whatever it is that they wanted to sing. But factually, what she's saying is wrong. And if you're writing for Rolling Stone, then you have to be accurate. It is your responsibility to research what the intention of the artist are. And these are 7 men that are very, very vocal about their intention or the meaning of their music. You have to respect that. If you want to share how you interpret their songs, that is fine. But it is your journalistic responsibility to make sure that people know the artists that are that the artists are actually that the artist intended the song to be something else. Okay. So how critical it is to get the facts straight. If you now search on Google what like crazy actually means, it's going to say slightly sexual. It wasn't like that before. It was picking up what Jimin was saying before. I just searched it last night. And because Rolling Stone is such a credible source, now they're picking up what she said and they're factually wrong. That's how important it is for big publications with high credibility and reliability score to get it right. Now people are going to think that those that are not going to research well, because they rarely do, they're just going to rely on the AI result of Google. And Google is still the most used search engine in the world. That's how critical it is for big publications to get it right. So, for the nth time, I'm going to repeat it. I have no issue if they want to sing about sex. They can be as detailed as they want. They're in their 30s. They can do whatever I don't care. But as a journalist, you have to be factually correct. And the truth is that in these two songs, Jungkook specifically mentioned that it is not autobiographical. He just chose songs that were given to him. It's consistent with what he wanted to release. And Jimin specifically stated what the meaning of like crazy is. So she had the journalistic and ethical responsibility to put that on her article. Okay, next. I also wanted to know what's the logic behind including skits. Skits that are barely a minute long with no lyrics and transitions but left out actual tracks. I can spot a shade a mile away, and this was a shade. For you to include a minute, these aren't even songs, okay? And she was ranking the songs of BTS members. These aren't songs. They're just skits or sometimes transitions, and she included that, but not actual songs. So the implication is that the moaning and the conversations were actually way better than the real songs that Jungkook actually wrote and Jimin actually wrote. There is no other interpretation. She ranked them, even though she didn't state the 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 measures that she used. That is the conclusion, not the okay. Next, two songs were criticized. Both were from Jungkook. So my take was that okay, that I'm gonna assume that it is constructive criticism. Okay, I'm just gonna assume that it is constructive criticism. Um, if if she didn't find those two songs from Jungkook, then why did she not include the ones that the other songs that she didn't have any constructive criticism on? Because it's a ranking, right? It's a rank, it's a list. So the assumption is that it is going to be the best ones. So if you don't think that these are the best ones, why don't you include the other songs? He wrote a lot. Are they worse than this two? So that is just a question. What is the logical reasoning? The songs, what is the, if there was any kind of logical reasoning? I just want to understand. If you criticize two songs, why did you not include the others with no criticism? Are they even worse? Okay. Next. There are, as I've mentioned, more factual errors. She also stated that the solo songs of Suga was under the name Suga and not under the name August D. Well, in fact, we know that it is under August D. So most of the songs that he released on his own were actually under August D. It's his way of delineating his artistic identity. So a minor thing, but it only goes to show again that she didn't do any type of research, or at least she didn't do enough of a research, because she, even that basic thing, she actually got wrong. It does beg the question though, that again, if you can't do basic research, then why are you writing? That's a very very basic research. Why are you writing about BTS, ranking them for ranking them of all things that you can do? And then there are a lot of juvenile writing, like creepy music box instrumentals, J-Hope breathing heavily. Yes, we want more. I mean, can we do the song a little justice? I mean, this was actually a skit that she was reviewing, a transition. So, which is one of those examples that she actually found this transitions and this skits way better than the songs, proper songs that they wrote and they produced. So my thought is just that, okay, if you're going to include um, that, if you're going to include those songs, why not at least explain why it made it to the list, and not proper songs, proper 3 minute songs that they actually produced, and where there were lyrics, and so why 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 that, if you're going to include that, why write it this way? Okay. Next. um Also, again, questionable standards. She ranked With You, which is a song about professor. It's a great song, by the way. Not great, but it's a good song. But it is about just professing love. If you read the lyrics, it's repetitive. It's just her. It's just the guy saying, "Oh, I love you. I want to be with you. Whatever, in whatever." So that's a great. I mean, I have nothing against great songs. So, but she ranked it higher than Like Crazy lyrically, and in terms of like the main message. This is way better. I mean, in terms of complexity, Like Crazy would rank higher. Now, if that is your preference, again, I have nothing against that. I just want to understand what was the standards that were used for you to rank With You versus Like Crazy. Okay, next. She did explain that there were 100 reviews that got cut out due to criteria, and I saved them though, she said. So, okay, so there is some sort of a criteria. Would love to know what that is. Usually, if you're going to be ranking them, you're supposed to include that in the article so that people will know, so that we avoid questions like this, so that we will understand why skits and why transitions made it, but not actual songs, why a cover would actually make it, but not the actual original songs. So, you know. Um, Next. This I don't really share. I just wanted to put it out there because a lot of Jungkook biases were actually saying that they interpret this. I don't, but they're saying that they interpret this to be an accusation, quote unquote, that Jungkook was using autotune when he sang somebody happened to be my favorite track in the album of Golden. But so they're saying that they interpret this to be saying that Jungkook actually used heavy autotunes when he has repeatedly performed this live, and even without autotune, when he was just doing karaoke and a cappella, he actually sang it, and it sounded very very close to the finish of somebody. But they said that for them it means that she is accusing Jungkook of using autotune. So just to make it clear to everybody that autotune is pretty standard. They used it to correct, like almost every track has that. Now what they're saying is that they interpret this, that this is heavy autotune. Okay. Now let's go through some of the comments and some of the questions that many YouTuber, not many people on X. I'm not going to include the names. I'm not here to shame them or whatever. I'm just going to address this. So we're going to see more of this. So one of them left this comment or posted this. We're going to see, which was forwarded to me. We're going to see many more of these kinds of lists, deep dives, and archive content being shared leading up to their comeback. It's a way to, number one, get ARMY excited about the comeback. Number two, educate the public and award voters about BTS. Number three, for the media to get engagement around that curiosity and excitement. She said, I didn't read the full list yet. full list yet, but wanted to share the purpose behind it. Obviously, ranked lists are going to be controversial, but it is a general purpose of getting others interested in BTS's music, just something to keep in mind. Okay, so one is that I don't think that Army needs any help in terms of excitement. We actually need the other thing. We need people to sort of control our excitement. Any more excitement, we're going to have a heart attack in this fandom. So we don't need, and it's a little curious. I don't know where she actually um, uh, got this. If she has an inside information in Rolling Stone, I'm not sure how she got her hands on the objectives of the article. But yeah, it's also curious that they think that we would need help in getting us excited for the comeback. Maybe some, not armies, maybe others get them excited because, as I've said, it's Rolling Stone. Number two, educate the public, and this is actually my personal. If there's a big, if I have the biggest issue that I have with this article is the fact that it is not educational because she provided a lot of wrong information. I didn't even give them all, but she provided a lot of wrong information in the article. So you can't educate if the information you're providing is wrong. So that is not achieved. Number three, for the media to get engagement around that curiosity and excitement. This is probably the that I would probably agree with, even though I don't know the actual, that's probably the actual objective. Yeah, that's probably it. They wanted to get engagement around the curiosity and the excitement attached to the subject. So okay, next. So someone said it's good PR to have so many of the lesser known songs being published. Even one person stumbles across it and decides on a whim to pick up a song at random and try and like it. That's a good thing. You never know how many new army's journey could begin. We can't underestimate it. I would agree if she included songs that are actually less known. I agree with this. It is absolutely necessary and it's a good thing. If she included some songs that are lesser known and some people will be excited to hear about it, but none her writing didn't really, or at least for me, it didn't really describe the songs well for people to get excited about it. As I've said, I mean that piece on J Hope is just an example of it. She had many other articles. There were many other things in that article where it's just a one liner, and it felt like it was written for um, prepubescent girls instead of actual mature music fans. So then, and then if that is the objective to try and get people excited on lesser known songs, then she should have included actual songs and not skits and transitions, because then people will hear about those, right? But then again, she didn't have to if we know what the criteria was. The thing is that she didn't say what the criteria was. Okay. Next, some army need to grow and understand that there's a difference between media and a fan. Medisa is doing her job, their job. Fans love BTS music, and even if this was an army list, taste in music is subjective. Just be nice and grateful they made this for BTS. It's good promotion. It would be good promotion if it is accurate, right? If it is accurate, if actual songs were included more than the skits, it would be a good promotion. But it isn't. A lot of the writing, except for the ones for Suga J Hope and RM, and I'm grateful for that because at least those she got right. But the most of the time, it was written without any kind of additional substance. Okay, but I agree that we should have more mainstream media writing about BTS. I don't understand how it got people so pressed. Solos, I understand, not surprised there, but come on, 200 tracks, some would have to rank low. I don't know. I like this article showcases how prolific they have been over 10 years instead of just ranking their top 20 or 50 tracks. And I don't think people are this is actually what I call the not what I call, this is actually ad hominem, when you're diverting the discussion away from the material points. And the material points is that, and I've mentioned this several times in my post on X, I said I don't have an issue on the ranking per se. I just want to know why there were factual misinformation. I want to know why skits were included and not actual songs. Now, if they say that this is a personal preference, okay, but this was for Rolling Stone. So again, we go back to the issue. Don't divert it. Just answer. We're talking about misinformation, inaccurate information printed on the article. Why were there very critical mistakes in the article? The quote was, one could argue about the lyrics being overtly sexual. This was because I mistyped and did not include the T. So when I quoted it, I said overtly, and they were saying that it's not, you're basing your reaction based on the wrong quote. So this is, and then another one said it's a slight, you're overreacting. Someone told me that the comment starts with one could argue, and the list doesn't pretend to be other than one journalist's opinion. Hardly worthy of a hashtag campaign, please. And this is what I was talking about. This is ad hominem. It's a fallacy involving shifting the focus from the substance of the argument to irrelevant personal characteristics of the individual making a claim. If let's just say for the sake of this argument that I am overreacting, it doesn't make my argument wrong, right? Because my issue has always been from the beginning, when I saw that first list, that screen cap on like crazy, my first impression is that it is wrong. You should have, you are okay, you have the liberty to express how you interpret the song. That is absolutely fine. That is the beauty of art, that it can mean different things to different people. But because you're Rolling Stone, people are going to pick up, as we have seen, AI is, and other search engines will pick up on what you actually wrote. It is your journalistic response. You have a journalistic responsibility to make it clear that the intention of the artist is different from your interpretation. That was it. If you want to interpret it any way you want, that is fine. Okay. So just, even if it is, that's my response. Let's just say, even if it is an overreaction, does it invalidate the argument? Stick with the argument and stop attacking the emotion or the personality of the person that's putting down the argument. Okay, next. There is no need to lose our minds over a writer being complimentary about a song, but not in the way that we agree with. She mentioned a possible interpretation that there is no need to be offended by. So this is a straw man fallacy. It involves misrepresenting an opponent's argument to make it easier to refute. Because the argument, okay, the argument is that it was factually incorrect and irresponsible. Okay, she said that it can be argued it is overtly sexual. That is fine. If you want to argue that, you can argue that, but it is your journalistic response. I can't emphasize this enough. It is your journalistic responsibility to state that the actual creator of the song intended it to be something else, because you are writing for Rolling Stone and it's going to be picked up by AI and other search engines. We want it to be accurate. Okay. Next. Okay, so overtly, so a lot of people are making a big deal out of me not misspelling overtly to overly. So they said it means different because it is overtly. It does mean different, but it actually makes it worse because overtly means without concealment, secrecy, or openly, meaning you cannot misinterpret. It does not have a double entendre. It means one thing and one thing alone. So when she said that it can be argued that this is overtly sexual, that actually makes it worse, because the truth is that the writer did not intend that to be anything else but what he said. But again, if you want to put your or own interpretation, you're free to do so. Do that. If we're all free, that it would be lovely for everybody to put their own interpretation, just so it is clear that the writer intended it to be something else. Okay, next. Um, these are some more reactions. It doesn't even say the song is overtly sexual. I've already addressed that. There's literally nothing wrong with saying once one could argue the song is overtly sexual because it's true, which is not, because the writer intended it to be something else. Right. So this person responded to that comment. Right. I didn't even notice that it was overly in the tweet. I read it as overtly like the RS article, and absolutely nothing wrong with either the lyrics or interpreting it as sexual or however. It's just that interpretation, which I agree with. It is just that as an interpretation. So it is just your responsibility to make sure that the intention of the artist is clear. There is no need to lose our minds over a writer being complimentary. Oh, I have already read that. Okay. And after so this is some of the things that I don't like that's coming out of fights like this on Twitter. Like, oh, after Jimin's documentary, turns out he didn't just did some lyrics. He even left Jimin and P Dog speechless, was talking about RM, and made them redo the whole album because people are interpreting this to be an attack on RM. When it's, as I've mentioned, I have absolutely no issue with the songs of RM, all the songs of RM being there. I don't have an issue if it occupies top 10 in her list. It's RM. I mean, come on. If there, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that people are going to like his songs. He's a great songwriter. He's the main songwriter of BTS. He's the leader. BTS was built around him. I cannot emphasize that enough. No issue about that at all. It's the factual information that were wrong in that article. And also now, because of all of this, people are getting dragged, saying this and that tweet is actually wrong. But anyway, that basically is what my sentiment is. We know how fast AI now is actually catching information. And because they put in search engines in AI, they would put this they would rank a website according to their reputation. And because Rolling Stone, Forbes, publications like that, because they've been around and they've been known for their credibility because of whatever. So the information that they put out actually ranks higher. So when a query is sent to their system, their tendency is to first search for the information that are appearing on those websites. And if it is wrong, then they will pick up the wrong information. That is why um, it is very important for us to make sure that the information going out is actually accurate. Okay. Do you have comments, questions, reactions? What happens with the journalistic these days? AI could do better. Well, AI now is picking up that article. Maybe it's just okay, not good. Have you all seen the choreography of Like Crazy? Yes. And I'm going to interpret that the same again. My Luna, I have absolutely no problem if people interpret a song differently. That is not the issue for me. She can interpret it any way that she wants. And that I'm actually happy that people are actually thinking about the song and putting their own interpretation. Right? That's how a song becomes prolific. But it is her journalistic responsibility to state that the artist actually intended it to be something else. Because Jimin did say what it was, but it was supposed to mean. So it is her responsibility to say, okay, Jimin actually stated that this is what the song means, but this is how I interpret this. Or she can fight for it and say that I think Jimin just didn't say this part out loud, but I think this is. But again, it's still her responsibility to state what Jimin wanted to mean in that song. Okay. I missed the last couple of minutes of the conversation. I just saw a video of Jin in a tank top, and his arm is very, very distracting. Okay. I am Claudia. If something's good, it's just that deep lyrics and meaning is what makes a song good. Like Crazy is superior in that whether you like it or not. Or the meaning, the interpretation of, the substance of the song. The author never actually said that it was based on her opinion, though. She never gave any criteria, even though we can assume it's based on her opinion, which is fine. She didn't actually state it. Yeah, she didn't state that it was based on her opinion. She did say that she had some criteria, but she said that on her IG. So we're gonna assume that there is some sort of a criteria. And she did say that 100 actually didn't make it, and she saved them all. So again, for a skit to make it, and not an actual song, I would be curious what that criteria is. Is it, could it be commercial viability, and they think that based on Western standards, because it is a Western publication, that the skits actually had better commercial viability than the actual full song? Okay. I just read it as a way to start the conversation about their music using her personal opinion in the order, not a serious piece. I did completely miss that part about Jimin, though. Um, I that is this, and I've said this in the beginning. People making their own list, and if it is just a basic, what just her own opinion, that is fine, absolutely fine. But we do need to understand that people now, because people are going to start using AI more and more, and even on Google, even if you just search on Google, they will actually start, the top search most of the time would be AI generated. They're going to pull information from publications like Rolling Stone. And in this specific one, she did not state that it was her interpretation. She just sort of said that it can be argued. So, well, what is the intention of the writer? What is your approach? What do you want from the group to do? Oh, that nothing. I just want us to be informed, and if we are, let's just be conscious that there is a need to be accurate when it comes to the music of BTS. One of the things that I mentioned in on X is that we, at this stage, we're way past popularity, right? Just anybody in the US, basically, you ask them if they know BTS, they're going to say yes. They might not be listening to BTS, but they already know BTS. I have never, in all the travels that I've made, encountered anybody in any shape, size, or color, and I asked them if they know BTS, they would all say yes. Many of them would say, I've never listened to their music, but yeah, I know BTS. So we're way past popularity. At this stage, what we want is for people to recognize the substance in their music. And that's what we need to be conscious of. Let's just be conscious of the substance in their music. Let's make sure that people know about that. I am not saying that there can be no substance in anything carnal or anything. I'm not saying that. Again, these men are grown up. They're in their 30s. They can sing for whatever, they can sing about whatever it is that they want to sing about. Let's just be accurate. So if we're going to communicate to people and talk about the songs of BTS, let's just be accurate. Let's be responsible and let's be accurate. The next thing is that I have absolute. I think it is but right if people start calling out on big publications to be accurate in the way that they report about BTS. If we don't ask that from these big publications and big media companies, I'm not saying that you do that, but what I'm saying is that if people start calling them out, I think that's right, because if you don't, then you become a part. You don't just tolerate it, then you're nurturing that kind of editorial standard, which we don't want. If a big publication like Rolling Stone can misrepresent the songs of BTS, can just get away with not including full songs but including skits, then what else can we expect of the smaller ones, right? They should be leading. Big publications should be leading this in the quest to be accurate. They should be the leaders in this. So there isn't necessarily anything that we could do at this stage. I think people have already stated what they want to say. People have already been calling for some corrections on Rolling Stone. Are there some people that are just downright disrespectful in the way that they're doing it? Sure, um, but but there but everything, I feel, everything that can be done has already been done. They're not doing anything, and so the only thing that we can do for our part is to just make sure that we are accurate when we talk about BTS. Let's be sure that if we want to share our own interpretation of the songs, our own interpretations of what they do. We make sure that it is clear that that's our interpretation, but BTS themselves, they have a different intention. Okay. Um, that's fine at One Hot Shot, except two songs under JK were covers of other artists' songs. And yet, if JK has 23 songs credited, she included 17, and two out of those were cover songs. 23 to 15 means eight songs are missing. Um, oh yeah, so she included the songs were not formally released. It was just a cover that he released. Uh, he didn't earn anything from it or whatever. That's fine. So maybe she's trying to she's trying to attach the name of Jungkook to Harry Styles so that in search engines it's going to be better. Maybe. Maybe that's the intention. Um, but again, this is a ranking. So the implication is that these are the best songs of each member. So if she's saying that the covers are better and better than the original, okay, but she needs to be very clear on the criteria. Okay, at Bang Luna, I get what you're saying, but there was a reviewer who said that like crazy was Jimin exploring his feminine side and the girl was Jimin's version of himself. Jimin never said that either. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard about that. Um, but unfortunately, sorry, not unfortunately, fortunately, nobody picked it up. Uh, so I guess Jimin was very open about the intention of the music video. It was inspired by the song, by the movie. So, okay. I'm concerned about the way the words used to call out this writer and the publication. Some people are unhinged and go for the jugular rather than respectful in their approach. That I think that's unavoidable. It is unfortunate, very, very unavoidable. As I've said, I think at this stage everything has already been said and done to try and call out their to try and ask for the correction, for them to correct the article, at least the factual misinformation, and they haven't responded. So it, yes, I think there are some that are very, very disrespectful, um, but it's always a part. If you enrage people, what I'm trying to say is that if you're a big publication and you misrepresented and provided wrong information, what do you expect of people? You this is we've all, I'm not saying that it is right, I'm not tolerating it in any shape or form, but we know how passionate armies are, and that has always been the strength of the fandoms, the passion. So people are not going to respond to politeness. You know we Many people are polite right now, no one's going paying attention. So yeah, it is unfortunate that the way that many people are communicating their anger or whatever, it comes off as very, very disrespectful. Um, you know, yeah, I agree. It's very concerning. I am Claudia, but this is not the case. Aren't you listening? Okay, I don't know. Just ask clarifications. Fairlane, for what it's worth, Rolling Stone is the same mag as that said rap was one of the best songs of 2020. The magazine writer do contradict themselves with facts lacking. Wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Either way, Army doesn't need Rolling Stone. It doesn't matter what they write. It doesn't change our opinion. BTS are excellent. This journalist didn't even do any research. Bad bro. Yeah. I think now every BTS song coming out, some will be looking for any sexual intones first before they themselves say what it means. Carla girl, that's his interpretation. Did he claim Jimin said that? Did she claim? You are you talking about the writer? Did she claim? It's a her. Um, no, she didn't say that it is Jimin's interpretation. And did she said that it is actually it can be argued? She said that it can be argued that it is overtly sexual. And as I've said, there is nothing wrong with saying that, but you do need to provide what the writer intended for it to mean. I would fight for that even in the songs of RM. It's just that she was very accurate with RM and Suga and J Hope. There's some J-Hope things that I didn't like the way that she wrote them, but not factually incorrect. Nothing wrong with that. That she interpreted it the way that she wanted to interpret that. I've said that many times. Nothing wrong with her interpretation. But she has to be clear that this is her interpretation and that Jimin stated what he actually meant it to mean. Right? That's just the thing. And this is not just about Jimin, by the way. Also about Jungkook, when she said that Jungkook was actually singing about his carnal desires. When Jungkook very specifically said, it isn't. It's not autobiographical. I was given songs I chose based on the theme that I wanted. But it doesn't. She in maybe it actually mirrors his carnal desire. He didn't say that, so we can't assume. So it is just our responsibility to state what the creators or the artists actually intended it to mean. Um, One Hot Sean, I agree 100 that it's a disservice to go with covers when he has amazing songs that should have been ranked higher. I could see her goal being to bring Harry style fans in, but don't rank them. Rolling Stone has always needed to use any mention of BTS or Cloud. Maybe the publishers to let them know that due to the inaccurate reporting articles reasons why they will not buy the magazine. I'm not sure if it is going to be in the physical copy. Maybe it is just a digital article. BTS is big enough for ARMY not to just be grateful about any mention of them, to the same way these journalists take time to write about Beyonce or Taylor. They deserve that too. I am Claudia. BTS is big enough for ARMY to know. Okay. Yes, so BTS, we don't need the publication. We always do need PR. That I would say. We always do need PR. We always need marketing. And again, because search engines and AIs will always pull from the credible magazines, like the big ones, like Rolling Stone, Forbes, NME, those that are established. That's why so I think it is still something that we should go for, right? That if there is an article out, if they write about BTS, that's still great, that's still good. But also, it has to be accurate. I think at this stage, we're past that awareness stage and we're in the understanding phase already. We want people to understand what BTS is actually writing about. Okay. Um, all right. The I'm a bit lost because too many conversation. The RS writer didn't acknowledge Jimin's. No, he did. She did not acknowledge or stated that Jimin had another interpretation, had another intention. Um, Deb, I think V said in a live that Army would be happy this month. Could be, yes, it could be that. Okay. Do you have clarifications? Jungkook also said that there is nothing wrong with the song and that we Army don't know everything he does. He said that during a live. Yes. Yes, I agree. Maybe she's trying to push South Korean media style to the US. South Korean media style? Sexualizing things. What is the South Korean media style? You have mentioned some members being accurate and others not accurate. I haven't seen any mention of Jin and Tae. How were theirs? Jin was okay. Jin was okay. Sorry. So for RM Suga and J Hope, they were okay. The for I've mentioned before. Okay, so that's the answer to your question. For RM Suga, J Hope, they were okay. For Jin, they were okay in terms of the description. There were across all members, there were some descriptions that I felt were too juvenile. But again, we credit it to personal preference, right? If we credit that to personal preference, let's just say that's how she wants to describe it. Okay. I don't agree with it because again, I feel like if you're writing for Rolling Stone and you're writing about BTS, you have to give it justice in your description. Okay, so that's one issue. There were many where it's like one liner, and I posted one. It was about J Hope. Okay, so that now in terms of my only issue with that is that she didn't. There were only 15 songs that were included for V here. So it is 16. So 16 songs now. But people are saying, but that's her personal preference. Okay. So if that's her personal preference, she doesn't think that the other songs of V were actually not good. Okay. So but that's fine. I'm okay with that. If the reasoning is that it is her personal preference, fine. The same way I think the same way I'm okay with 50 songs of RM being included. I'm okay. That's her personal preference, and I do not question that because RM is a great songwriter. I cannot state that enough. He's a great songwriter. He is the main songwriter of BTS threes. BTS, he is the reason we have BTS. BTS was built around him. So I don't think, I personally have no issue with that. So if we're just saying, I do think there are some songs of other members that should be included. But again, people are saying, but that's her personal preference. So okay, if that is the argument that that is her personal preference, then I'm good. But if you're asking what is my issue, if there's anything about V, that was my main issue, outside of the several descriptions that I felt were too juvenile. Okay. All right. So thank you for coming to this discussion with the chart. Because I know people were going to ask. So I just decided, okay, I'm just going to summarize it. I actually think she took the most time to write about RM and Jin's songs. I don't think she did that. She did a great job writing about HYBE and Yoongi's songs. Sam said, okay, fair lane. I don't mean they don't need the publication. Of course they do. They're artists. It's just that some people think Army should be happy about whatever. Oh yeah, yes, I absolutely agree. That we're past that stage for sure. That we just eat anything that comes our way. Yes, I definitely agree with that. As I've mentioned, I think we're past the popularity stage. Anybody you ask about BTS in the US, they'll know about BTS. So that we don't have any. So we're in the substance stage now. We have to be accurate in the information that they are publishing because it's going to be picked up by AI and other search engines. Okay. Um, what else? Do we move on? Hope you are right that something is coming for OT7. Um, okay. Anything? You have mentioned some members. Oh, okay. Okay. Anything else? Anything else before we move on to the next one? I just took a screenshot of the chart. I can post it. I can post it on X. Sorry, on Patreon if you want. I'll post that. So there are. Just want to emphasize that I RM is great. I never even question why she gravitated towards RM. I don't think, like, if you're a real BTS fan, I think you would acknowledge, yeah, he's a great songwriter. I will not, but in the same breath, if someone includes Suga's songs, most of Suga's songs, I also will not question that. I mean, they are great songwriters. You can't pick and choose who's the, at least for me, you just can't pick and choose who is the best. They are, so this is her personal preference and fine. Just correct the factual misinformation. Thierry Lane, do you think the journalist did this on purpose for engagement? I don't. I don't know. I think it's her personal preference. um, Hi, Amari. Okay, what's next? Let's do. Do you want to do UK chart? Where's my UK chart? We don't usually look at the UK chart for BTS and for the different members of BTS. So I went there just to look at what's happening and also checked out other acts that are actually doing well in the UK. Is very interesting because today Golden got to number one of Billboard Hot 100, and they were actually number one in the UK chart, I think, for a day or something. So for BTS songs, they of course do this differently than Hot 100. So the categories are a little different. The way that they're counting it, the cutoffs are different. But so BTS has not, and no BTS member or BTS itself has gone to the number one of UK, uh, the UK chart, the singles chart. They have not gone to number one. So, but they have gone to number four, to the top 10 four times. So, four different songs have gone to to the top 10 four times. And in total, they've spent 7 weeks in the top 10. Okay. And then there have been 9 songs of BTS that got into the top 40, and they've stayed in the top 40 cumulative times 53 times. Okay, so this is unprecedented. No other acts had gone close to them, have gone close to this record. UK top 75. So they do Hot 100, not Hot 100, 100 as well. So UK top 75, 21 times, and then in total, they've stayed in the top 75 86 weeks. 86 weeks in total, cumulative of all their songs. They've gone to number one in the albums chart, which is also based on the total sales of the album. So two times they've gone to the number one of album charts, and they've stayed in the number one position cumulative times 2 weeks. So 1 week for each of the album that has gone to number one. And then number in the top 10, they've gone there 5 times, and they've stayed in the top 10 a total of 7 weeks. They've gone to the top 40 8 times and stayed in the top 40 26 weeks in total. And then they've gone to top 75 10 times, and they've stayed in the top 75 49 weeks in general. And this is the best record of all Korean acts and all Asian native acts. Did you say Golden to number one? Yes, Hot 100, they were number one. Golden of Huntrix, not Golden of Jungkook. Um, okay, so that's for BTS. So I've also gone to each of the members. Sorry, so this is the singles chart, just so we see the songs that were included in the singles chart for BTS. Oh, okay. So for Jin, he's gone to number one on the singles chart, top 40 once, one song, and he stayed in the top 40 for 1 week in total. But he did stay in top 75 5 weeks. Okay. And then for an album, he got to number 75, the top 75 once, and he stayed there for 1 week. So that's for Jin. And just as so we have, so for Jin, this is funny because if you go to the singles chart and go and check at Jin's profile, you'll see Learn Chinese, which was released in 2005. I'm like, what the hell is Learn Chinese? So I guess they just credited it to Jin because obviously he hasn't even debuted in 2005. I don't know what that Learn Chinese is. So for the astronaut, I'll be there, Running Wild, and then Don't Say You Love Me. Those are the 5 songs that actually made it to the singles chart. I don't know where that Learn Chinese is, but it is under it is under Jin. Suga's songs, he's gone to top 75 once. Now, do remember, Suga has two identities, Suga and August D. So, for Suga, credited as Suga, top 75 one song and stayed in top 75 for 1 week. BTS live album is breaking records as well. It is breaking records. I think Demon Hunters people made Jinju Saja to look like Jungkook. I also think that they were thinking of him when they wrote the song called Golden. Okay, so that's for Suga. Um, this is August D. If you include August D, it'll be two. So sorry, for if you include August D, there will be three. So for August D, these are the ones that went into the singles chart 1 week each. The Cheetah and Hegum. And albums chart, August D-Day and D2, 1 week each. In the one, so for D2, it was in the top 10, and then for D-Day, it was in top 41. Okay. So if you summarize it, I know it's a little confusing for Suga, but for Suga, he's actually been in the top. Oh, actually, I think I captured it here. So this is what went inside for Suga. Okay, so it's just that for him, you always have to check two names because one is under Suga and then one is under that. Um, BTS Live. I still don't understand how they categorize Golden as a K-pop album. Is a whole new world Arabian or maybe Philippines since Leia sang it? Oh, Golden the song? Why do they categorize this at? Okay, for J-Hope, he's been in the top 40 twice, and he stayed in the top 40 for 2 weeks in total, but stayed in top 75 6 weeks in total, and went inside top 75 6 times. As for his album, one reached top 40 and stayed in top 40 1 week. Two reached top 75 and stayed in top 75 2 weeks. So I think these are the songs that actually went in. Okay, so for J Hope, these are the songs that went inside for the singles chart. So Chicken Noodle Soup, More, On the Street, Neuron, LV Bag, Sweet Dreams, Mona Lisa, and Killing It Girl. So that's for his singles. He has the most. He has the most. RM song one inside top 75. Weeks in top 75 is once. JK last I heard was in Japan, CK Japan schedule. And then he two albums went inside top 75 and stayed in top 75 2 weeks. But one album actually went to top 40 and stayed in the top 40 for 1 week. And these are the albums. So Come Back to Me went inside the top 100, but the peak was 80. That is the reason. That is the reason you only see one in top 75. And then Lost is the peaked at 93. So that is the reason you only see, again, one in the top 75. Because the only single of his that went inside top 75 is Never Play. And then for the album, though, Indigo peaked at number 48, stayed in the chart for 1 week. And then Right Place, Wrong Person, RPWP, peaked at number 37 and stayed for 1 week. Okay. Next. For Jimin, he went inside the top 10 twice and stayed longest stint inside the top 10 4 weeks. He went inside top 40 3 times, and longest stint inside top 40 is 19 weeks. So he got into the top 75 4 times, and longest stint, sorry, cumulative stint inside the top 75 is 33 weeks. But only one album made it inside the top 75 and stayed there for 1 week. So if we look at the details, this is for the singles. Vibe only peaked at number 96, but Set Me Free, Like Crazy, Angel Part 1, Smeraldo Garden Marching Band, and Who all went up. Oh, sorry, Angels are only 82. So all of those went inside top 75. Those are the songs that went into the top singles chart. Okay, so that's for Jimin. For V, um, twice landed in the top 40, cumulative weeks of 2 weeks in the top 40, twice landed in top 75, and cumulative weeks of 3 weeks in the top 75. And these are the ones that made it. So Slow Dancing and Friends, 24 and 13 peak, but Winter Ahead failed to make it inside the top 75, but it peaked at number 86. Okay, that's for V. And then for Jungkook, 4 times top 10, cumulative weeks of 4 weeks in the top 10, 4 times in the top 40, cumulative weeks of 18 weeks in the top 40, 6 times top 75, cumulative weeks of 36 in the top 75. He only had one album, so he only did once in the top 10 in the albums chart. top 40 2 weeks, and top 75 5 weeks. So this is how it looks like for Jungkook. Stay Alive did not make it in the top 75. The rest of the songs that I will be mentioning did. Left and Right, 7, 3D, Too Much, Standing Next to You, and Never Let Go. So he has uh, the most entry in the top, the highest. Okay, so this is the summary because I know you're going to ask for the summary. So this is how it looks like. In the top 10, so not neither BTS or the members got into the number one position yet. Hopefully in their comeback. But for BTS, 4 times in the top 10, Jimin 2 times in the top 10, Jungkook 4 times in the top 10. Top 49 times for BTS, Jin twice, Suga once, Jimin thrice, V twice, and Jungkook 4 times. Top 75, 21 times for BTS, 6 times for Jin, 6 times for Suga, one each for J-Hope and RM. Jimin 4 times, V twice, and Jungkook 6. That's your summary for their UK charts. Um, Bob German. My favorite solo songs don't chart. I'm unbothered. Yeah, my favorites don't chart as well. So, oh no, wait. The one thing. So for of all the songs of V, that my favorite solo song is Friends, and that charted. Outside of that, all the other ones that I like didn't chart. My favorite didn't chart. Um, but JKXUK, I know, right? It's like, look at that, 44436. I mean, come on, he's raking it in. I love your charts. The UK chart is it's really hard to crack. I was actually planning to go into the German chart. I was like, what if I do all the top 10 regions, the top 10 markets? Oh my God. It's like, maybe I should do Japan. Because we always hear like, oh, topping the Oricon chart or whatever. Why don't we actually do a deep dive in the Oricon chart? Because Japan is the second largest, right? You want me to do that? Let me know. Okay. Thank you for looking it up. Okay, but was it even 2 times for Jin? The song was for MC Jin, a Chinese rapper. That's true. You deduct one. People are sleeping in Mona Lisa. J Hope killing it, etc. Not charting. It isn't. So let's go back to J Hope so that you can clearly see. Okay, J Hope there. It did. It actually was there in the top. It was there in the chart for 2 weeks. Oh, thank you. Simply JJ became a premium subscriber. I'm gonna talk about the website in a bit. So, Killing It Girl, yes, it did. So, but my favorite, I have to confess that my favorite is actually Mona Lisa. Of the three English singles, not of all his songs, but of the three English singles, it's actually Mona Lisa. That's my favorite. So okay, so we're gonna do better. I think if there's one thing that we should be paying attention to is the fact that, uh, like for example, for Jin, it's not Jin, but for Jungkook and for Jimin, they hardly promoted in the UK. Jimin did not promote at all. At least Jungkook had one or two appearances. I think he had one radio show appearance and then that live performance that he did. So still, that hardly counts as a promotion, right? So for him to still be able to rank in there, for the two of them to still rank in there, that's a good sign, right? So I think it's the only thing that we need this time. We also need to keep in mind that they were in the military for a really long time. So right? So they a lot of the things that they were supposed to do, they weren't able to do the tour, releasing whatever. So even Map of the Soul was cut down to two instead of three because of all the things that were happening. Okay, so let's there are others that actually made it inside. But this is the summary for albums. So he had uh, one of each. So okay. Now let's go to Blackpink. They are the closest that could the second. They're the next to BTS in terms of charting in the UK. So not in the top 10, they did top 40. So 9 times in the top 40 and a total of 17 weeks in the top 40. And then UK, but then they stayed in the top 75 39 weeks. They had a number one album. So they had the top two album and they had top 40 and top 75. So did I screen cap there? Jenny has went inside top 45 times and then total of 15 weeks, and then top 75 7, but cumulative weeks 33. In terms of album, she landed at the top 10 once, top 40 once, and top 75 once. So I don't know if yeah, so these are the singles that went inside the top 100. You and Me, her longest stint is one of the girls, but like Jenny is catching up. It's already 11. It's been in the chart for 11 weeks. And then, yeah, and then Handlebars. I think these are songs in her album, latest album. So B-sides in her album. Okay, next for Rose, this is all Apathy. So it's been there for 46 weeks in the top 75. It was in the top 10 for 16 weeks and inside the top 40 for 40 weeks. One album in the top 10. Longest stay of her album in the chart is 2 weeks. So this is Apathy. Here, I think um, yeah, so she has like Messy. This is the OST for F1 the movie, and then Toxic Till the End, this is the single in her album, and then Number One Girl, also the single in her album. So Number One Girl, Messy didn't make it to the top 75, but on the ground, which was, she released this when she was still with, well, she still is in Blackpink, when she, long time ago. And then Apathy peaked at number 2, stayed inside the chart for 42 weeks. I think it's still there. And then yeah, and then the Number One Girl, sorry, the Toxic Till the End, and then On My Mind. The On My Mind is with Alex Warren, and this is her latest release. um for me, Jimin alone doesn't get any love. It's getting love from me. I think I've mentioned that I prefer face over news. So, but I understand the difference in their objective. I'm very mindful of the objectives of the boys whenever the kids, whenever they release the albums. Lisa, 15 total weeks in the top 75. 1 week, or sorry, 2 weeks in top two. Sorry, in the top 40, and then album one inside top 40. 1 week inside top 40, and then 1 week inside top 75. So that means she entered and then dropped out immediately. So this is for Lisa. Um, I'm doing this because they're the second in terms of the number of weeks inside the UK charts. So Money is number 46. Sorry, La Lisa is 68. That's the peak. But the longest stay is Money for 8 weeks, and that peaked at number 46. Rockstar peaked at number 49, but only stayed there for 1 week. New Woman peaked at number 55, stayed there for 1 week. Born Again peaked at number 13 and stayed there for 7 weeks. And then Priceless, which is the one with Maroon 5, peaked at number 69, stayed there for 1 week. And then Jisoo only had one across the board. So 1 week, top 40, 1 week, top 75, and only one song. And that song is Earthquake, I think. Oh, Flower. Flower. So this is video streaming chart. Okay. So they're the second. They're the second. So it's harder to crack. The UK chart is way, way harder to crack. But actually, I wanted to give you your, because I know that this was going to be a heavy topic. So I wanted to give you your emotional support picture of the day. Someone sent this to me. So I did not see that coming. That he was, I thought when he had this, he would for like several minutes or less than a minute, we would catch him in that black tank top, but he would always put on a jacket. I did not see him completely taking off his jacket. Our kids are growing up. Okay, so that's your emotional picture of the day, and that's two more. Someone just sent this picture to me, but one thing that I actually love is how this picture really shows that he can walk the runway, because those shoulders are meant to launch 1,000 brands. I hope that Gucci actually makes him walk the runway, because that shoulder, people are gonna kill for that. If you are in the fashion business, I've actually directed two fashion shows, minor ones, not major ones, definitely not Fashion Week. So, but and that's one of the things that a designer would always look for, the shoulder, because the way that he explained it to me is that if you are walking the runway, you actually need a hanger. Basically, is what you need. You need a walking hanger. So, and those shoulders are walking hangers. So I hope they make them walk. They Gucci actually makes them walk the runway, but they're so busy. And then you have Ben. This one was, when I watched the video, it was so funny because I can't even pay attention to the biceps, because so he was working out, right? It was working out, and then suddenly, and he was looking so tough. It was like, go, go, Te. And then he looked at his trainer and said, like, is it over yet? I'm like, how can you shift so fast? So there you go. All right. I didn't include. There's one for Jungkook, but okay. So that is for the UK chart. Okay, I'll post the summary as well in Patreon if you want. So do you want to do news and updates or illuminate? Those shoulders died. Jin is getting out of the shell, peeling one layer at a time. But Fairlane, he walks so funny. He can learn that. Someone's gonna train him. John's gonna train him. Okay. So, but yeah, I'm sure he can learn the walk, and also, he can develop his own walk. Right? He can develop his own walk. Okay. Do you want to do news and updates or illuminate? You want to do news and updates or illuminate? Let's do news and updates. Okay, so an intro to the ending of the tours. We had three legendary tours that concluded: Suga, J Hope, and Jin. And I think they wrote history. I'm not. It's not. I think I'm pretty sure they wrote history. They have they have proven that an Asian native artist can actually conquer a tour. So, I mean, of course, J Hope was the very first Asian native act to sell out a stadium. It was oversold, not just sold out, but it was actually oversold. And we know that Jin actually is the very first Asian native to actually do a concert in O2 Arena, and he sold it out. So and then all of this actually started with Suga. So I think you know a lot of people down the road, because records are meant to be broken, there will be acts that will actually sell more, acts that will do a bigger venue, but no one is going to take away the fact that it was the three of them who started it all. And Suga was actually the first one. He was the first one who said, "I'm gonna go on a tour," and he did it before his enlistment. He sold out the venues, and I think the only mistake in that entire tour is that he didn't do a stadium. He was being advised to do a stadium, and he went against the advice, which again it proves that they actually called the shots in their career. I think the second biggest mistake is that they didn't do an encore for in a stadium. But we know that that is not as easy, because you do need to book the stadium in way in advance. And then with Jin, I think, as we know, he decided on it last minute. He was being offered to do it. He said no. and they had to settle for whatever venue they can get with a short amount of time. So yeah, I was just reminded because I was reading some stuff about Cortis, the new group of Big Hit, and they said that they were asked if they've met BTS, and what BTS told them. And I think it was the leader Martin who said that one of the he said that the advice that he got is that he should always be nice and kind to the people that he works with, the staff basically. And I remember in one of the I don't and I beat myself for this because I remember RM saying that he addressed the staff once in an interview, and he said that he feels bad that staff don't usually get the recognition that they deserve because they don't usually get mentioned by name. And when I say the staff, he's talking about makeup artists, the stylists, the road managers, security, all of those people. And he addressed them directly, and he said that I hope that you know that we're very, very grateful, and I hope that you are proud of what you contribute into making, right? Basically the success of BTS. And he's basically saying that you are a part of this, that if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. And so I'm not surprised that that's the kind of advice that BTS actually gave them, to be very nice to the staff. And I actually mentioned that in relation to Jin, because Jin admitted that he decided on it late. He was offered initially, he declined, and then later on said that, okay, let's make it happen. And then the three oldest making waves for solo tours. Thank you, Angel Star. Is that for Debak? So when Jen said in the last live stream that he did, he was asked if he's gonna do an encore, and he said he couldn't because they couldn't book a venue. And I just realized that, oh my god, maybe if had I been a staff member of Big Hit, and this is BTS that I am working for, I'm gonna beat myself for not finding a venue, right? So I'm sure that some of the members, I'm just speculating, I don't know any of the staff members, but I'm just speculating that they feel bad about not being able to secure a venue. So um, every now and then, let's also acknowledge the hard work of the staff. I know that there are a lot of people, a lot of fans, toxic ones, that are like, this is all BTS and BTS alone, and they all owe to BTS. And the fact is that even BTS acknowledges the importance of the staff members. Okay, that's the reason that I mentioned it. Okay, next, just want to remind everybody. Oh, here. So 314,033 in attendance, 18 shows only. He didn't do a lot because he decided on it late, but he sold out every venue. He sold out every venue, and he was the first one in the O2 Arena, first solo Korean act to do a solo one in the O2 Arena. Fair Debak Ticket Fund. Okay, it's getting there. It's getting there. I hope that by when we travel this Christmas, he will be able to fly with us and have his own seat. I'll take a picture. Okay. So that's for Jimin. Actually became the most streamed K act, and I found this very, very funny because it's always BTS versus BTS, right? So he overtook his own band as the most streamed in the US. I'm sure that in the comeback, BTS is gonna take over again, and then in the next comeback, it's BTS versus BTS. Very, very proud of Jimin. And then I just like this. I just like the way that they did this, so I included it. It's the same thing. He's the most streamed K-pop act. I would like to correct that and say he's the most streamed Asian native act in US Spotify history. And then for voting, Power Hour. So this is the time, the local time when your vote counts twice. So for LA, it's 10 a.m. That's your Power Hour. So if you vote in MTV, it'll be counted twice. Mexico, 11 a.m. New York, 1 p.m. London, 6 p.m. Sao Paulo, 2 p.m. Paris, 7 p.m. New Delhi, 10:30 p.m. Bangkok, 12 a.m. Seoul, 2 a.m. and Sydney, 3 a.m. So if you vote in the MTV voting website for Jimin for the best K-pop act, it'll be counted twice. So that's the best time But any kind of vote will work. It's just that if you can. Also, a reminder that the only way to vote is going to the website. A lot of fan bases are actually saying that a hashtag actually counts. It does not this year. They removed that. So you do need to go to the website itself, go to Best K-pop, and actually vote for him. So hashtags won't count. Don't do the hashtags. It's not going to do anything. It might trend on Twitter, but it's not going to get counted. And you do not need to vote on all categories for your vote to count. Okay, you can just vote on K-pop act, use all of your email addresses, and that should be fine. Everyone is doing it. That should be fine. Also, this was just sent to me. There is somebody who's using right people, wrong place on Amazon. So the thing is that no one is being prevented, and it's blatantly a copy of RM's album. I mean, come on, look at that. That's a blatant copy of RM's album. The only issue is that if it is a legit album, if it's a legit album, then no one can actually take him down, right? But it's obviously being copied. So maybe if we report this to Big Hit, they can do something about it. So you can always go to the website of Big Hit and then just report them, give them the link, see if they can do something about it. Because come on, that's a blatant copy of what RM's album, right? So just it's disgusting how they can't come up with their own. But can you blame them? It is RM. So Huntrix Golden becomes the very first female. This is how they call it. The very first female K-pop song ever to reach number one in Billboard Hot 100. So they reach Billboard Hot 100. Actually, so Sadra Boys also is in the top 10. They're also in the top 10. But number one, Golden Huntrix. Now, no one's saying in all the posts that I found, chart data, Billboard Hot 100, they don't mention the names of the singers behind the animated characters. So here you go. Mei Hong, Arden Shaw, and Ji Young Yu. These are the three people that voiced the characters. This is them again. So that's Arden Shaw, Ji Young Yu, and Mei Hong. Says Rumi, Zoe, and Mira. Just want to acknowledge them because it's just odd that we're actually counting, that we're actually putting an animated character in the same breath as actual breathing people. So there you go. Strongly disagree with this comment. What? You don't think that they should be if you're saying that you don't agree that they should be categorized as a female K-pop group, I absolutely agree. I don't know what the motivation is. I don't know why they're including that, but okay. Um, but I don't know. I can't explain. I mean, I kept on thinking back at or for Debak's plane ticket. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Now we're getting very close. I'm going to do an accounting. I'll share it in the next live so that you see the progress of Debak's plane ticket. Okay, so I don't. So just to give you an example on how absurd I think this is, when when what do you call this other group? There was another animated group. They didn't talk about them at all. They did not consider them. The one of the characters was also inspired by Jimin. That group. So it's an animated group, and no one was considering them a K-pop group. It's just an animated character. It's just an animated character. So I'm like, what is this? Like, why? What? I also don't see. I cannot. I don't know. I can't explain to you. So I can't. I'm puzzled. The only No, I don't want to be malicious, but I also can't explain why they are considering this a K-pop group. But it's in the chart. So so the best that I can do is actually acknowledge the voices behind it. So these are the three girls, the three women that worked hard to no, not Plave. Plave are actual people. So there are K Town, yes, K Town group. So play, there are people behind it. So so that's an actual group. They just don't want to show themselves. That's their concept or whatever. But I think it's called the K Town group. It's one of the members are actually inspired by Jimin. So yeah, I don't know, but there are actual people behind the voice. So I'm like, well, at least recognize the people behind the voice, right? So as Mei Hong, Arden Shaw, and Ji Young Yu, the same way they recognized Frozen. What do you call that? The Frozen OST. They recognize, so at least let's recognize them, right? It's like I don't understand why. Anyway, all right. I don't know. So that's them actually doing the voices, or at least pretending to do the voices. I don't know if that's an actual session. So far, this is how where the insanity is has actually taken us. So these are the only songs, K-pop acts in history to reach number one in Billboard Hot 100. So they are officially calling it a K-pop act. Dynamite by BTS, Savage Love, which was the remix, was actually what got them to number one, and that was with BTS. Life Goes On from BTS, by BTS, Butter by BTS, Permission to Dance by BTS, My Universe by BTS, Like Crazy by Jimin, and then Seven by Jungkook. And then you have Golden by Huntrix. Unless the goal is to get somebody else in there so that it's not just exclusively occupied by BTS. That's the only possible reason why they will do But I don't know. It seems to be so silly. But I whatever. So, other news is that these are the only female songs that stayed on the top of Billboard, um, in Spotify. Sorry, that actually um, got 100 million streams in Spotify. So so you have Takedown by Twice, and got that stayed for 47 days, and then Strategy 44 days, Jump 50 days or 30 days, Crazy 30 days. This is 4 by Twice, 29 days, and 27 days Hot by Lesser of Him. So it is dominated by Twice, and then two for Les Seraphim, and then one for Blackpink. What is considered K-pop if the singers are Chinese? Because of the title of the movie, of the, yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters. Are they saying BTS is so good that they need a fictional group to write? I don't know, because I can't find the. It's so sudden. It's so sudden that they suddenly. I was so shocked. Someone was like, "Oh, K-pop group Huntrix," and I'm like, "It's an animated character." I don't. I wish I could give you a reason, a logical explanation as to why they're including this group, but it's there. There are three women behind that voice, so at least let's acknowledge the women. They worked hard for that, so let's at least acknowledge them, right? If we're going to ride on this insanity, at least let's not acknowledge the ones behind it. YG released their very undetailed report, Q2 report, and they said that they finally are back in the positive. So they earned 104 billion won gross revenue. So gross revenue, their operating profit is 11 billion, and net profit is 11.2 billion. So they are collecting more because the net profit is bigger than the operating profit. So they're generating some sort of an income from somewhere else. Usually, the net profit becomes bigger than the operating profit if you are collecting something from the past quarter. So they must be collecting something for the net profit to actually be bigger. Okay. So that is the extent of their report. Not a lot of details. That's what you get from YG. They did say that the profit is actually coming from Baby Monsters and Treasures tours that started last year. So they're finally getting their money from the two tours. And they mentioned and other acts. Now, just for fun, I also generated the report, the Q2 report of the music companies, the labels from the US. So Warner, Universal, Sony, and Spotify. And because HYBE America is considered the fourth player now in the US, I put it side by side just so we have a comparison how far they are from the big three. So Warner, Universal, and Sony are considered the big three. I included Spotify just because they are constantly put beside them because they are the biggest by far streaming platform for music globally. Okay, so but if you say big three, it would be Warner, Universal, and Sony, and then you have the nuclear, which is HYBE America. So HYBE America, if you translate their earnings into dollars, then they got 515.28 million in gross revenue. So they are closest to Warner, which is 1.68 billion, and that is an increase of 8.7% year on year. But seeing this, you'll see how far HYBE still has to go in terms of gross revenue. Universal got 3.8 billion. They are the biggest in terms of gross revenue. It increased 4.5% year on year. So Q2 of 2025 versus Q2 of 2024. Sony got 2.768 billion, an increase of 8.8 billion year on year. And Spotify got 4.7 billion, increase of 400. Sorry, no, so they didn't state any kind of increase or whatever, but they said that this actually um, is an underperformance. So they underperformed the the projections of financial institutions like Nasdaq. I see a lot of K-poppies talking about Baby Monster. They're good. They are, I would say, in terms of talent, probably very close to 21. They're good. They're very, very good. Uh, Big Bang is not making money. What are they doing? G Dragon is not with YG anymore. So the tour that he's doing is not under YG. Keep calling out the erasures. It's the only way to spark change. The BP sold out concerts, Imran, the venue's announcement, not YG. No, they didn't sell out, but they will always say that they sold out. So there's nothing much we can do about it. The truth, I think I've explained this before. I can do another video if you want. But many of this people that are this accounts or organizations that are reporting, they are actually also relying on what the label will report to them. So the only way for you to actually see if the concert is sold out is if you go to their ticket master before the and see if there are available ones. But then again, there is a cheat, and they're using this cheat. They would declare that they would get the tickets and give it away for free, and then declare it sold out. So it's really very hard to determine. But I usually check if I'm curious about the performance of an artist. I would go to the ticket master and then see if there's any. Don't count resales because those have already been sold. So just the ones, the original ones. Okay, so operating profit, I know people are going to ask what is an operating profit, is also known as the operating income or earnings before interest and taxes. Represents the profit of a company that a company generates from its core business operation before factoring in interest expenses and incoming taxes. In other words, this is how much a company made from its primary activities, such as selling goods or services after covering all the expenses directly related to that operations. So if I'm selling CDs, right, I will need to pay the manufacturer of the CD, graphic artist, whatever, the producers if they need to be paid one off. After paying all of that, the distributors, that's my operating profit. So operating profit for HYBE is 48.4 million. Again, this is going to give you an idea how far they are from the rest. But they are so Warner has 203 million, but this is only their operating profit for recorded music. They did not include tours. As you know, usually labels actually have a 360 deal where they get a cut of the revenue from the concerts if the act is signed under them. It's called the 360 deal. So in here, in their report, Warner did not include that. It's only recorded music. Universal 1.03 billion operating profit, and that includes everything. And that's an increase of 25.3 year on year. If you would remember, Universal is the distribution partner of HYBE America. Sony has 642 million in operating profit, and Spotify 444 million in operating profit. They also stated that this is an underperformance compared to what they were actually gonna, the projection of Nasdaq and other financial institutions. For Hybe, the biggest contributors were concerts, and then but for Warner, so they gave highlights when they do reports. They would usually go give highlights. So for for Universal Music subscription actually went up 8.5%. Recorded music and streaming for Sony, recorded music contributed 209.5 billion of the 2.768 billion. Okay. And then okay, so do you have questions on this? Questions on their earnings report of the US market? Just wanted to highlight, I saw this article. So Yeti of Red Velvet said that SM Entertainment took her to a spinal clinic to improve her height when she joined SM Entertainment. Isn't that shocking? Holy crap. Imagine that. So they wanted to make her grow taller, and so that's why they took her to a spinal clinic. Oh boy. Okay. I just saw a BP concert with a lot of empty seats in Barcelona. Yeah, they didn't sell out. They didn't sell out. They sold out one SoFi, one Canada, I think, and then the rest they didn't sell out. But there are ways on how to give away the tickets. So maybe it's just me and my age, but I really don't think they got shamed in the article. But that's just me. Okay, all right. So Cortis. Wait, that's true. What's that's true? What is that? What are you asking? How can we invest in the stock with Hive? So they haven't gone public in America, unfortunately. So you will have to get a fund manager in the US, in Korea, for you to actually invest. It's not that hard. There's a lot of fund managers there. It's just that usually there is a limit. It's actually the same strategy that Suga used when he invested in the company that he bought, in the team that he bought. He partnered with a private equity fund, so you do need to get a fund, put your money there, and then yeah. Uh, oh, GD, yeah, He left. He left YG a long time ago. A long time ago. GD left. Oh, the spinal thing. Yes, she talked about it. She talked about Yeri talked about it. She said that SM Entertainment actually, and this was a long time ago because this was when even before they debuted. Yeah, she was taken to a spinal clinic, and they asked her. They basically wanted her to grow taller. Okay, so I did not invent that. She said it. I enjoy music from high. So, what do you think of Cortis? Do you love them? Did you see the girl, the interview? Yes, I saw it. So I'll talk about it, but let's talk about Cortis first. Did you like them? Do you? How do you find the fund manager in SK? I know some. If you want, I can give you referrals. Cortis have potential, waiting for the other song. So one of the major observation, you know how uh, if you go on social media, there's always everything they complain about everything, right? It's like too much this, too much that, and the primary complaint here is that the company sold the group. There are two primary concerns or primary complaints that we don't necessarily need to take seriously, but they were sold as a self-producing group, and then if you look at their credits, there are other producers in that group in the behind them. So in their lead single, I think Hitman Bang, Bang Shiyuk, and then P Dog actually contributed Slow Rabbit, and then them. Okay, so but because they were being built up as a self-producing group, then everyone was like, then nobody else should be there. Okay, so that's one concern. Second is that they said that there were too many, um, there was too much auto tune in the song. Okay, so okay, so I'll set that aside for now. When I first saw it, I have to admit that it wasn't what I was expecting in a good way, because there is, when it comes to big hit, there's always, they always play on the lore. Every group has a lore behind them, because that's how they expand the IP of the group, right? And so I was expecting something similar, and I did not get that. So I was like, oh, they're not going to sell me the lore from the beginning. And that says a lot, I think, on the strategy that they're trying to use for CORTIS. One strategy that I think they're going for is that they do really want you to concentrate on the personalities of the boys. I do think that there will be a lore, and it's going to come later. But I think the strategy for the first single is that they were trying to present the boys as human beings first, right? They want you to concentrate on the boys as human beings, because that's how they marketed BTS first. They were human beings. In the first three albums, we didn't really have a lore. The lore started with The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, which, as I've mentioned many, many times, they, specifically BTS, said that it was the magnum opus of Suga. It was Suga's concept through and through. He was the one who developed it. But in the beginning, there was no lore. It was just really BTS. And so I felt like this was, and then if you observe the music video, they were dressed down, right? The styling was very street. It was very, oh, I was saying lore. I'm sorry. It's just my accent. So they were very street, very much like very, very human if you look at them. And then there were a lot of distortions, which I found very funny, very refreshing. That I actually, it was so funny that I found myself going back to that specific part. I was talking about the fisheye lens that they used when they were running, which they used several times. And so I think it's Songyeon, who was actually holding the camera, the fisheye lens, and he was running, and it distorted his face that he looked really funny. But they used that lens several times. So I was like, that's funny. And so I actually ended up watching the music video several times just because I wanted to laugh and I wanted to enjoy it. And what that was what I felt. I was enjoying the music video to the point that I was like, the music became secondary to me because I was just really enjoying the visual. It was so different, it was so refreshing. I wasn't fixated on like, are they synchronized? Are they dancing? I was like, not none of that. I was just really enjoying them being together, being funny and being silly. And I think that is the objective of the first single. They just want you to see them as young people that will grow in the industry and that we will be witnessing their growth. Whether or not we will love that kind of growth, I have no idea. But at least in the first music video, I just enjoyed the distortions were funny. The Everything was actually distorted. They used a lot of distortion. The fisheye lens, the 360 camera, the editing, the editing techniques that they used. If you remember, there is a transition where from, I think, one person, it was like suddenly and then yeah, whatever. There were a lot of distortions, and I felt like that's what they're trying to communicate. That we are just five boys. That we're gonna grow in the industry. We're friends. There's going to be you're going to be we're going to be peeling you one by one, and we hope you're in for a ride. So the music something that I will listen to? Not necessarily. This specific song, will I listen to it? No. But I can find myself anticipating and actually waiting for their succeeding releases. If that was the objective, they got it. Right? And also it speaks a lot that they were wearing regular clothing, at least regular clothing, quote unquote. They were very urban, looks like the kind of clothes that they will wear, that the youth, the guy in the going to their high school first day would be wearing something like that. So it was goofy, it was fun. Yes, it was just fun. And I found myself wanting to, as I told you, I watched it several times because I just was laughing at it. So it's like, oh, okay, I think I get it. So in their trailer, the music video trailer, there's a choreography. So I think there's going to be another music video. There's going to be a proper choreography, and I think there will still be a lore behind the group. It's just that I think their introduction was something meant to be casual. They wanted us to see them as young kids, and that will be embarking on this journey, and we will witness their growth. That's how I think about it. Anti-hype are attacking them already. Yeah, that unfortunately is something that they need to anticipate in the coming weeks and years. For the rest of their lives. Basically, they are going to be criticized. People are going to continue looking at them. They will be. It's just, unfortunately, it goes with the territory. If you have, let's admit it, at this stage, anybody who joins HYBE or any of the labels of HYBE, they will have privilege. And with privilege comes that the hate, the criticism, anything that they will always be criticized, and there's nothing you can do about that. Okay. Um, they're different for sure. I guess many thought they were going to go for the normal K-pop style. They released a performance version today. Oh, I haven't seen the performance version. Um, they have okay. So Hoan said the label won't allow them to fully do anything at this point. They have to earn those liberties. Some performance directors behind the scenes helped. Yeah, I mean they're young. There's still so much to learn as a group. Um, I think eventually they're gonna get to where BTS got to, where they were just really just producing whatever it is that they want to produce and write whatever it is that they want to write, and it will be their call who to work with. But I also think there is value in the model of HYBE, the model that they are using right now, where each group, um, BTS got the hate with no privilege. True, true. They got the hate with no privilege. So, but you know that they're for HYBE, the strategy is to have one dedicated producer that will be there to accompany the group as they grow. Right? They assign one producer, and that producer is just really not that that producer won't work with anybody else. We know that P Dog and all the others actually work with other groups. It's just that they are assigned to a group, and there is merit to that because then we're seeing now that P Dog knows the kids so well that he knows exactly what button to push in order to push the kids forward when they are stuck in something. He knows what material to take that he thinks will get the kids interested and to put it together because he can interpret what the kids are saying. Because if you are a group as big as BTS who's busy doing concerts, writing your own songs, and rehearsing, doing UNICEF, and all of those things, you don't necessarily have the luxury of of time. Other groups can fully self-produce because they are not as busy as BTS. BTS members are busy as a group and as individuals. So you do need somebody there that when you can't do certain things, they can do it for you to your liking. So there is some merit to that, and I think that's healthy. And I think they just need to prove themselves. I think eventually they will be able to fully call the shots. but it is a good sign that in every track, each member participated in writing. So I know that the youngest member openly said that he wants to be able to create tracks that are just automatically pop hits. And I think for him to have that awareness of what he actually wants, that's a good sign. He just said it, like he wants to be the kind of writer eventually that can write down something and know that it's going to be a pop hit. So that's such awareness like that is very, very healthy. um okay, actually CORTIS members have more training years except for June. Martin and James already got credit writing. Yes, for TXT Eyelid, yes. BTST, TXT, Abs, CORTIS, and CORTIS. A dedicated producer is also good for continuity. Yeah, yeah. And just have, I mean, we know like how I think one of the things that really demonstrated how P Dog knows what button to push in order to get the most out of the of BTS is his documentary with with Jimin. Because if you really observe the entire documentary of Jimin, what his job was to actually just sort of tell Jimin, hey, you're onto something great, push that forward. He just knows what to button to push. Like he would be when Jimin was humming something and he was like, that's good, let's put that in. Had it been any other producer, they wouldn't take him seriously, right? Because he was just humming. But because he knows the boys so well, he knows what button to push. And then when Jimin was writing the lyrics, he was like, that's not bad. Like, put that in. Um, and he said in an interview, P Dog specifically said in an interview that his primary job was to be able to produce what BTS wants him to produce. He said that flat out. It was not his vision. His job is to be there and concretize the vision and the creative ideas of BTS. That's his job. And I think having one producer gives you that ability. If you have a group and you have constant and you of course the producer has to be good, duh. But if you have that, then you're able to get to know each other, get the best out of know what button to push in order to get the most out of you. Okay. um I think America is trying to push BTS out. I see BP and Stray Kids magazines at Barnes and Nobles, but no BTS. Well, there is no PR yet, and I think that is by design. We are over time, but I'll answer this last question, and then we'll call it a day. But if you have questions, put them in now so that I can answer them before I go off. But I think the primary thing right now, I may be wrong. I may be wrong, but I think BTS is really in the preparation stage. I think they were honest when they said that they didn't do that because they weren't really allowed to do anything during the military. They didn't. So they basically have zero material right now. And I think they really set the direction when the seven of them met, which they said they met about. So um so yeah, that's I think his thing. um I think their thing right now is to prepare for the music, and all the other staff that are dedicated to BTS. Their job is to prepare everything. So a lot of the things that you are reading right now is because Stray Kids and Blackpink are the ones that are very busy right now. They're on tour, so you're going to hear a lot from them. And but I also think that it is wise for BTS to hold back until it is their time, because you don't want anybody to be riding on their coattails at this stage. If this groups and Stray Kids are doing great, I've mentioned that many times. They're doing great on their own, and they should just be allowed to do great on their own. And then when it's BTS's time, they're going to obliterate all the records and stuff. Okay. Questions. The guys are lucky that P Dog decided to stay and write produce when he didn't continue as a performer. Jimin said P Dog wrote in a higher range, so he taught the guys to squeeze their butt cheeks. When will we get to Lumina? I know, I have it here. I'm not lying. I got it here. I'm ready with it. But we always go over time because I talk too much. So next time on Wednesday, I will do this first. The Illuminati report, the Luminate report, the Luminate report, Billboard report. That will be my first topic. How is that? And then I have a live stream dedicated to the paying members, and I am going to release a video just for the paying members of YouTube um, and Patreon. Also, I'm going to release a video because there are four tiers right now, right? Like you have, again, for the legacy subscribers of Patreon, you get everything for as long as you stay in legacy. But the moment that you unsubscribe, then you go back, then you just so for legacy you get everything, and then there will be different content and different intentions for platinum and diamond of Patreon, and then for the two tiers in YouTube, you have different content. I will create a video on that one. I'll organize everything so that everyone is informed. But yes, also as a closing, I am sorry, but I want to really show you this. So um, if you can please do this. I'm sorry, but it's now. I think I'm buffering. Give me 1 second. Okay, so give me 1 second. All right, I'll share this with you. Where are you? Okay. If you can go to the website, if you can go to the website, Asian Entertainment and Culture, Asian Entertainment and Culture, please go. And this still on a soft launch, but my goal is to do a grand launch on Monday. Not this coming Monday, sorry, but next Monday. So I'll do a PR and stuff like that. So if you can please go to the website and just click stuff and let me know if there's anything that's not working or whatever. If you have any kind of constructive suggestion, any kind of constructive criticism, would love to do that. For those of you who already sent me your comments and inputs, thank you very much. I have those. But for the rest of you, please go ahead and go to the website, and then the goal is to to help more Asian artists, Asian culture and Asian art to shine a little bit more. I don't think in the first several years I can compete with like the news and how fast the news is. So the goal is to first like do deep dives on certain songs, movies, and artists. So it's more examining a deep dive basically of the meaning of the music, meaning of the art, and then hopefully we can grow. Okay, so all right, is MHJ trying to make Ted look like a traitor to HYBE? Where is this coming from? Huh? Where is that? Bob German, show what is that has to do with not letting them shine. I'll hold you to it. Yeah. uh, what is that? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, what has to? Is that about his supposed call to her while he was in the military? Okay. All right. So please, if you can go to the website, just give me your inputs. And also clicking around will actually be good for SEO. So double purpose. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye, everybody. Have a good night.